Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are here today with our special guest, Yasmin Elhady, to celebrate American Business Women's Day. My name is Laurel Ewan, and I am the founder of the social enterprise Duha, where we help support women in need in Niger to start their own businesses in order to help them break free from the cycle of dependency. And I'm also here with my business partner and friend, Ray. Ray, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm Ray from SHYFT Creations. So we create streetwear with meaning. So we're super excited to be able to take that meaning to the next level, where we created a new collection called the Duha collection, where 50% of profits will be going to the Duha women.
Alhamdulillah. And in celebration of businesswomen across the world, we wanted to interview women that we admire and respect in business. And Yasmin Elhady is one such woman. Yasmin is half Libyan, half Egyptian, and she came over to the US around 5 as an asylum seeker. The injustices she witnessed in Egypt during her graduate fellowship in Cairo led her to become a lawyer with an aspiration to protect and defend people's rights. Currently, she is an attorney in the public sector, and she is also a stand-up comedian and has performed throughout DC for TEDx at the Kennedy Center and also for Penny Appeals Punchlines Comedy Benefit Tour. She made her TV debut earlier this year with Peacock's new series, True Story with Ed and Randall, where she shared her story about running for class president after 9/11 against the most popular kid in school. And she also is a relationship consultant and used to do matchmaking, jack of all trades, mashallah. So we're so excited to learn more about Yasmin and to celebrate her story and achievements as a businesswoman. So Yasmin, I'll hand it over to you. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what led you to becoming an attorney slash stand-up comedian slash relationship consultant slash etc.?
Yeah, it might seem like it's a big web, but it's more or less offshoots that I've taken on the same path of trying to be in service. I will have to say this is the first time I've ever met a polar bear who is in service, and I just want to say, let's not let them get extinct, because they are out here making streetwear that matters. So thank you for all that you both are doing, especially on highlighting American business women, because we like to take care of business. It also sounds like to me that maybe Ray, the polar bear, is not an American, and I'm not sure how I feel about you weighing in on the American experience, but maybe I'll let it happen since you hang around the poles of the world. So I really wanted to be in service my entire life. I thought that was cool. I thought that was it was neat to be able to do things that protect people's dignity, elevated their consciousness, helped them reach their full potential, and everything that I've done or I've embarked on has been around that intentionality. So being a lawyer was really about protecting people's rights and justice, having justice served. And sometimes that means the outcome that you necessarily don't want, but is needed because of the greater protection of society. And also, I started basically when I was a lawyer, I started realizing that, well, before I was a lawyer, actually, I started matchmaking when I was in law school. Started realizing I had like a knack for helping people connect. And I think that's because everything I do is an attempt to connect with people. And later on, when I became a lawyer, it's a bit heavy. That space is a very heavy space. It's like a lot of times it's a matter of life and death, and people's ability to navigate really, really difficult times in their lives. So I decided I was going to choose joy. And I had been using comedy as a way to connect and as a way to make people feel kind of more comfortable in talking to me and relate to them a little bit better. And I had a colleague who was like, hey, I know somebody who runs an open mic. Do you want to do it? And I was like, well, maybe. And that's been 5 years. This is my 5th year comedy anniversary, October now of 2022. I started in October 2017, and it's been a really cool ride doing it. I would say I'm more of a storyteller because I think that's where the connection's at. I'm not like a boom, boom, boom. I'm not pithy and concise. I'm not concise. I'm more all over the place. Everything about me is all over the place. Not even just my words. So anyhow, that's why I started doing it. It's been a cool experience though. I think we're all here to make the world a little bit better. So I don't want anyone to shy away from doing that in many different ways.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for allowing me to join this space in spite of my
goodness
failure at
You're just not an American. I don't know what else to say to you, Polar Bear.
Should I speak an American accent? Does that make it better?
Yeah. Can you make me more comfortable? That's the most American thing I can even imagine me saying. Could you stop being you and be more like me? That would make me feel better.
I have to say, it came up actually in another interview about how we looked it up. There isn't an International Women's Day, but there's an American Business, as in International Business. There's an American Business Women's
But there's an American one.
Yeah, so
we're capitalists. That's why you're dying, Polar Bear.
You're right.
We are actually making you extinct. We are threatening your very existence. You're threatening my ears.
Oh gosh. So as you were sharing your, I guess, journey to, entrepreneurship and how ultimately they are tied together, and it was one thing leading to another, and how connection is a big part of what I guess ties everything all together. Would you say that's what inspires and motivates you then? Like what else inspires and motivates you to continue to do entrepreneurship and, work on your business and in your work? Because I know definitely I actually have a background as a youth worker, would you believe, working with young people from refugee backgrounds. So I know that there are definitely a lot of challenges with working with communities who have gone through trauma, especially. So would love to know just about more your motivation and inspiration.
So I did that in college as well. I work with refugee children, and that was a really great experience. Now my work is really more in supporting them financially and raising money and raising awareness. So I just think that whatever you do, whatever motivates you, it has to be in like a core value alignment kind of way, meaning like whatever motivates you has to be the way that not only you live your life, but you want other people to live their life too. So it's not enough for me to want something good for myself. That's just like when I think about like what motivates us to do good work in the world, it's not enough that I just want it for myself. I have to want it for other people. And that's all about like that intellectual and emotional honesty that you walk through life with. So if I want money, like say money was my motivator, I want a ton of money. For me, it's like an incongruency. There's a cognitive dissonance between me wanting money and then not wanting money for you too. That feels not even like intellectually or emotionally honest way to walk through the world. And I, obviously there are people who disagree with me, called the billionaires, top 1%, 0.5% really of the world population that would disagree with me. And like, no, we need to hoard as much for me as possible. But everything about me is about trying my best to like live in that truth, live in the core values that I would want for myself, but wanting them for other people, so that there is this alignment in my thinking and an alignment in my value structure and the way that I enter a room. And I'm Muslim. I believe very, very deeply in the example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. We're celebrating right now in the Islamic calendar, Rabi al-Awwal, a joyous occasion of when the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, was first given to the world and was first born. And everything about the prophetic example for me is about living in that congruency, living in that alignment, and wanting something for yourself and wanting it for other people. And, you know, the Prophet, he spent 40 years perfecting his character, and showing up for other people over and over and over and over again, and wanting for other people the same kinds of things that he wants for himself, and finding a peace in that, including taking time away to think about those things, including taking time away to just like be introspective about that. So for me, the prophetic example is all about, you know, and the Prophet said it, you know, like, I was not sent for any reason except to perfect good moral character. Like, I'm here to show you like what that character looks like. And the hallmark, in my opinion, of the prophetic character is really making every space better that you walk into, and making people that you interact with feel totally and completely important, and seeing them for who they are. That is what I aspire to be. And that's actually what drives me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's very inspiring as well. From what I have gathered to know about you from following you on Instagram for some time, I know that I believe that empowering women is also one of the values that you
Yes.
really embody, especially with all your work, and a lot of the organizations and things you're involved with. So I wanted to ask you, what does empowering women mean to you?
I think for me, the most important way to empower women is to make them feel as though they have the freedom to choose what they want to do in their life, and in a way that gives them the tools and all the resources necessary to fulfill their full potential. Because once you give a woman, in my opinion, once you give a woman those tools and that kind of freedom in the space to choose, she will always choose the betterment of society. Always. Consistently, she chooses the choice that elevates her children and the children of her neighbors and the teachers within that community and the mentorship pipeline. If she's got vegetables growing in her garden, she wants the other person to have vegetables going in their garden. If she's making a little extra cash on a side hustle, God bless the side hustles, you know, streetwear or comedy, whatever it is, she wants other people to eat too. She wants other people to come on that journey with her too. So, you know, Malcolm X said it best as well, rahimahullah. He said, you know, when you educate a man, you educate that man, right? You educate, hopefully, you know, like a family. But when you educate a woman, you educate society. When you give a woman that space, she kind of wants to lift up everybody with her. So that's what, for me, is empowerment of women, giving them the space to choose and the resources to fulfill their full potential.
That's amazing.
MashaAllah. That's so beautiful. And what you said reminds me of what I was just in Niger with the women that we work with and support, including through SHYFT Creations, this partnership. And we've helped, they were in, you know, in survival mode. They couldn't afford food for their family and themselves on a daily basis. And so we gave them just like a hand up, instead of a handout, like $50 to help them start a small business. And when I was there, we were trying to help them to grow their businesses, right? And we were asking them what their dreams were, what their plans are, things like this. And one of the women, she was talking about how like she still wants to sell these local snacks that she makes. And it was very important for her that she sells it at a very affordable price, because she was like, I still want to help those around me. And I was just like, mashallah, because even though, given her situation, and she's barely, you know, she's making ends meet right now, she's able to afford food, but she still has that mentality and that priority and that value system to want to care for those around her and make sure that she's able to give back. And that was like so important for her as she's growing her business, to make sure she can take care of all of those around her. And what you just said perfectly embody that model as well.
And that's what you see. I mean, that's what the data bears throughout the developing world. The data bears that when you give women microloans, when you offer for them a second source of income, they crush it. and they return the money, and then they like try to talk to their friends about how to also experience that same kind of success. And it's just so cool. They don't spend it on gambling. They don't spend it on other things we don't want to talk about. You know, they don't blow that money on things that unfortunately traditionally the other half of the population spend it on when they make that money. So it's just, I mean, again, I'm Muslim, so, you know, let's just get into it. You know, Muslim women are the only group within the Semitic religions that are actually a part of creating our religious tradition. And what I mean by that is, like, in no other Semitic religion is a woman a part of the creation of religious text like the narrators that Muslims have of the prophetic tradition or the hadith. And every single narrator who was female, every single one was found of upright moral character. Not one was found to have fabricated any account of a prophetic tradition. Not one of them was found to be of character that could be untrustworthy, meaning that they said one thing, but in their daily life, they did another, and they performed kind of an act of hypocrisy. And we know that Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah, who was the most stringent of the collectors of this tradition, of the prophetic tradition, which we today, it's like basis of law, it's the basis of life. When you look at his books, over 30% of the compiled narrators, they're women. Over 30% of those chains are based on women. So, you know, I just believe in them. I just believe women, man. I believe them. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. I believe in them. I believe them. And I believe that if you give them the power and the choice, they will make good choices for the rest of society.
Totally agree. Although I'm a polar bear, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about you. We don't even know what. Are you androgynous? Is it? Are you a gender? I'm not sure. Ray seems like it's very open-ended. So
like, on the topic of women,
very progressive. Yes.
One thing I would love to ask is, like, in terms of, you know, juggling the work, business with being a woman, you know, being a wife, a mother, a daughter. How do you do it? Do you do it?
Not well. Not well. Yeah, I think as a part of, for me, I mean, I'm in a place of flux in my life currently. A lot of the choices that we make, I think that if we're choosing success, if we're choosing success in our particular fields, a lot of times that comes at a cost to other parts of our lives, like our family life or our children. And I'd love to get us to a place where that binary doesn't exist, or we don't have to choose one. So a part of that would be to create things that involve our children, and to create projects that excite them and that involve them and that involve our families. And I think that is it's like a gap in our capitalism. I'll say, is just, if we're talking about American business women, there's a gap there. Some women have been able to bridge it better because they're opening facilities for children, for example, and they're entrepreneurs in that way, whether it be educational centers, whether it be activity centers and things of that nature. But I mean, in other ways where, like, children learn the trades of a business, right? Like that children learn hydroponic farming, that children learn how to code certain elements of an app, for example, that would be a part of your business. I don't know if we've like really blown the top off of the possibilities of that. But I mean, I know, like in comedy, I can't involve my children, and that sucks. I can't involve them, especially because I can't control what comes out of other people's mouths that could affect my kids, right? So the environment's really important, and that's just like a place that I struggle. That's a space that I struggle in. But I think that one of the main ways that I'm able to still like show up and be present for my children is that I create boundaries of this is work time and this is family time. And I work in spurts. So I time box my time and say, okay, like, this is what I do during this time. This is what I have to do during this time. And I can't let those lanes cross. Or if I do, it has to come with like refilling that cup, within a short period of time. It can't be like, oh, I've spent this whole week doing this, so like I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks doing more stuff, and then next month I'll be with my kids. So anyways, it's just one of those things. I mean, children have, they're short little memories, and then they develop really long memories. So the key is to try to be with your children, if you're, or with your family, if you've missed out on something because you've been working on your business or you're working on whatever, that you try to make it up to them as quick as possible and refill that oxytocin, which is the bonding neurotransmitter and the hormone, to try to really to find that time to bond with your kids, and then have it a sacred time, as very protected time. I just think that if you lose your kids, or, you lose the next generation, then what does it matter what you do? What does it matter? What does it even matter? Like, who am I working for? Why am I even doing this? I want to be protective of the future generations. And so that also dictates what I do in my business, what I say, how I act, what I don't say, and how I don't act. So it's, my children and family have helped safeguard me and keep me grounded. You never want to believe the hype about yourself, because then your kids just like poop on you. And you're like, oh yeah, that's who I am. That's who I am. I clean with a bidet, like, this is what I do. And that's okay. One time my kid peed on me, and it's just mad disrespectful. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it was just mad disrespect. I was like, why don't pee on me? He's like, I couldn't control it. I'm like, you can control the direction of where you peed. Like, why would you, like, I can't. So anyways, it's humbling. But yeah, that balance is necessitated, and it's prophetic, and we have to do better at that. Like, that should be one of those things. Again, like, how do we involve children in our future? Just like certain things in our Western society that have disappeared, like multi-generational housing, or like not having grandparents around really, or like aunts and uncles, and like, research shows like that's actually really good for your kid. That's actually really good for their development. That's actually really good with passing on traditions and protecting society. It's protective of society and economic outcomes. So there's some things that we get to do better, I think, on the family front, balancing that.
Thank you for the just openness and honesty. I think a lot of people can relate. That juggling balance is something that I think we are all forever are trying to improve on. So
right.
Yeah, and the mom guilt is real. The mom guilt is crushing. It can feel defeating sometimes, but just get back up. Your kids are going to remember how you make them feel, not all the stuff that you did. How did you make them feel during the things that you did? That's what they're going to remember.
Exactly. Jazakallah khair for sharing that. Embracing myself for the future, inshallah, when I have kids.
Same. You're going to be a great mom. You're going to be a great mom.
Inshallah. So my next question is about, in terms of, we were just talking about the challenges in terms of juggling and balancing all the different roles, especially with kids. So I was wondering, in terms of growing your business as a storyteller, as a stand-up comedian, what were the biggest challenges that you faced in that?
Well, a major challenge, I think, is the time that you spend away from your kids, and your content delivery has to be in line with your values. So that's not always funny. It's like how to make yourself both relatable and funny in a way that is dignifying, and doesn't like make fun of the things in your culture without lifting your culture up too. I think it's just like everything is dynamic. Everything has to, like, you have to show the full picture. So if I'm making fun of my parents, I'm also lifting them up, for example. So there's that balance in the content. But yeah, that was a major challenge. Also, like a lot of open mics, a lot of like the environments that you're in they don't really comport with my values. And so it's like, how do you figure out how long do I do stuff like this to be able to get out of those places completely? And a lot of that involves a lot of, direct prayer and just like asking for guidance about like, how do I do this in the most protective way?
I think that's a good.
So that's been the major challenge.
Yeah, actually, that's probably a good segue into. I mentioned at the start that the new collection that we created in partnership is called the Duha collection. So yeah, we'd love to know, like, what does Duha mean to you?
I mean, that's your tether, your prayer and seeking things that's your tether to the rope of to the rope of God, to the thing that is true, to the essence, the source. So for me, everything I've done has been locked up with that. I'm a person who practices, I'm a person who believes. I hope I die on that. I hope my children die on that. I hope the entire progeny dies on that until the last hour. That's my sincere prayer. And I pray that prayer a lot because there's lots of falsity and we want to find the truth and we want to be able to seek it and to never be deluded. We seek refuge from God, and being deluded by any idea of what people have of us or what we could do. And just prayer is a way to remember that everything comes from God. Everything, both the difficulty and the ease, and the ease is coming with the difficulty, which is really hard to find sometimes. So that's for me. And prayer is it's like shifts everything. I just want to say, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think helping women in Niger it's an incredible initiative that you're doing, that I know is coming from a place of love and wanting to share the gifts that you have with the rest of the world. And that's a beautiful thing. May it be blessed, may it be elevated, may it be echoed in the heavens, that this is what you want to do and this is the intention behind what you want to do. I think it's one step closer to giving other people the power of choice and the power of resource to make better choices for their entire families and their entire societies. I'm praying for SHYFT Creations just to get bigger and bigger in the streetwear world. I think it's so cool that you're partnering up with Duha with the Duha collection to make sure that these women are supported, and you're really inspiring, and I wish you all like just utmost success in this. And I got to buy a piece. Like I need to buy one. So when much. It's ready to drop, send it to me. I hope it's polar bear friendly. I'm just saying, I want to make sure that all my paws black and white can fit through.
We got black and white.
That's panda.
Polar bears have black eyes. Can you not see my black eyes?
Oh,
black and white.
That's true.
My nose?
I don't know. Your nose is black. Your ears are pink, and it's adorable. And so is your mouth. Can I have a SHYFT creation with a polar bear on it? That's what I want to know. Is that some of your streetwear? She's like, no, you're so silly. You're so dumb, you American. I want to colonize the polar bear. I want ownership over the polar bear and your voice. Thank you all for this amazing experience.
Thank you so much.
Yasmin.
Have a great.
Love you guys. Bye.